Here I'm holding a piece of wood that's 1.5 inches wide by 3/4 inches thick. And I'm going to take this wood and I'm going to show you very quickly how I converted this piece of wood into an ice fishing jig. All the pieces that you see here in front of me are actually pieces of garbage wood. You'll see a metal band, and these metal bands are approximately 1.25 inches wide, and you'll find them at your hardware store where they've cut away bundles of fence posts or something very heavy that they needed to secure, and they use these metal bands just for securement. Once they get to the store or wherever the product is sold, the bands will get cut off, and in some cases you'll find it in fabrication shops where there's heavy crates involved with pieces of machinery or equipment. Anyway, they end up in the garbage, but for me they're just a bonus because I make use of these all the time. In fact, I have a piece of scrap in my man cave here waiting for the next parent or next child that needs something to fish with. I have a total of 4 pieces of wood cut out of a single piece that I had made for my tomato steaks. This one just happened to end up at 20.5 inches long. These little blocks on the end are 2-inch blocks, and in the middle this one happens to be approximately 15.5 inches long. This piece of wood has been centered against the long piece, so it's found a center, so that'll enable me to screw on and glue on two-inch blocks on the end of my longest piece. They're held together with a bolt, but this is a carriage bolt, and let me explain how important that is. A carriage bolt, and I'll just get a sample. Carriage bolt has square shoulders under the head, and the head is rounded. A machine bolt has got a hex head and it's smooth in here. When you center this wood, you want to drill the hole through both pieces the size or diameter of the carriage bolt that you want to use. The key to a carriage bolt is once you insert it in the hole, you take a hammer and you drive the head in, and that square shoulder that you see on a carriage bolt actually locks it in place and stops it from spinning. And that's important because we don't want the carriage bolt to spin in this particular setup. So now this carriage bolt is centered on the long piece as well as the small piece, and I'm going to just show you why. We're talking about an ice fishing tip-up, and we want to be able to open it up, set it down on the ice, and then tighten it so that it can't collapse on you and slide into the hole. And that's why you want a carriage bolt here. This whole thing is 21.5 inches long by only 1.5 inches wide. Now you remember the metal band, and don't worry about all the extras I put on this metal band. Now we're looking at the scrap metal banding, 1.25 inches wide. That's very important to get the right flexibility and strength in this band. Don't worry about this piece of pipe that I've glued down to it. I've actually got reels that I mount near the base of it. But what you'll see here is a hole, and this hole matches the hole in the wood, and that's for storage. You'll see that the metal band has a right angle bend, or a little bit better than right angle bend on the end. Well, that's so that you can put this metal band down over top of the wood, and that's how you carry it. So that's in its storage position. Also, you'll see the bottom of this band, there's another hole, and this hole is made to mount. Okay, so this metal band is now mounted, and when you want to use it, you just open it up. I'll just move this one away. I've just made these for a friend. So you open this up, and you can spin this metal band anywhere you like, whatever position you like, and it is made to catch the wind. You can actually see it moving up and down. So it's in the wind. This is what it does. So when the children get tired of fishing and you put a little jig and a minnow on the end, or even a small 5 of diamonds, this thing will continue to fish. And if you do catch a fish, the kids will come running, and all they'll see is this metal band bent down and just bouncing all over, slapping the ice. And that's the beauty of how simple you can make a tip up for winter fishing and keep the kids occupied. I'm now going to dismantle this apparatus. Again, I take it apart, pull it off. I just collapse the wood together. One thing I've done differently for my friend is, and it's maybe not so easy to see, this is just a plastic tubing. And I run my line right out the end. In the old days, we used to take Dacron line and just wrap it around the end in a big knob. It worked just fine. But I thought, I'm going to do a little extra for this fella, and I'm going to put this plastic tube in here so it works just like eyes, and I'll just hang the line off the end. And on the bottom end, I have an option. I have a spool that I made that I can set on here to hold line. But the one other thing that I failed to mention, and I will now, I collect a lot of old fishing equipment, a lot of fishing rods. And with this particular outfit, I cut a fishing rod, saved the handle, I drilled a hole. Now you can put a reel on here. So a regular fishing reel with drag, and you can thread the line up the tube because it's going to sit ahead of your reel. And so the line will come across and it'll go into the tube and out the end. So now ice fishing is primarily grab the line at the hole and pull it in. It isn't like fishing in the summertime where you grab the rod and reel it. All you want this for is this rod handle is to hold the reel, the line, and give you the proper drag. This all very simple. I mean, it's not something that's rocket science. It's been around for ages, but I'm hoping that all of you will look at this and say, well, I can make that, and make it, because it'll keep the kids occupied for hours and years, and then they will turn around and build it for their children. As I wrap up this video about the poor man's ice fishing tip up, I want to tell you that the banding was cut 36 inches long. There's an inch and a half at the base and then a 90+ degree bend. This gives the main part of the band the right arc to catch the wind and move your hook or jig up and down properly. Otherwise, too short, it's too stiff, and too long, of course, it's just going to lay down. It won't do its job. Thank you for following Marvin's Customized Angling channel. We appreciate your feedback.